Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Crafting with Holly. Today is all about coloring, and I wanted to dive right in and give you some tips and tricks for coloring in these adorable little critters featured in the April stamp of the month called Little Hedgehogs. And as you can see, this stamp set is jam-packed with so many beautiful images and icons, and then there is a thin cut option, but sadly the thin cut option has sold out already. So I apologize for that, but for those of you that are VIPs, you can still get this for free with your $50 purchase. And if you're not a VIP and you make a $50 qualifying purchase, you can get this set for $5. Normally it's $19.95. So today I want to walk you through how I colored all of these adorable little critters and then added the Stickles to them. They look like shimmer or shimmer brush, but it's actually Stickles, and I just really thought that the Stickles made it just really pop and elevate it a little bit more. So I am going to go ahead and move these out of the way. Don't forget, every Friday I come in here and I share a different project. Today I'm actually showcasing how to do the 2-page layout, but I first wanted to walk you through the coloring because that's pretty detailed. And then over the next couple of weeks, I will be sharing how to make each one of these adorable cards. So I hope you join me every Friday. So I'm going to set this off to the side. And I'm going to bring in this mat, and I'm also going to, and I apologize, I'm going to just lower my stand ever so carefully so that I can bring this just a little closer to us. And that way you don't have to see my head when I am coloring. And I'm going to move in all of my pre-cut images, and I've got a little scratch paper here too, but I will set that off to the side because I really don't need that right now. And I want to walk you through how to do the stamping. So let's just get these lined up. And then once I stamp them, I'm going to show you how I color all of these beautiful images in as well. And so there's a foam pad that comes with the Close to My Heart stamp sets. And that foam pad not only acts as a protective carrier for the stamp sheet, but it also acts as a cushion so that when you go to use your stamps, you have that extra little cushion to get that nice, clean, crisp image. So when I'm first using my stamps, I take my thumb and I gently peel them off because they are fragile and they can tear. So you want to just gently peel them off this carrier sheet. And then I stick them onto a block, and we have various sizes. I always like going larger just so that I can see the image through clearly. And then when you use your stamps for the first time, you're going to want to season them. And that's just removing the residue that might have been left during the manufacturing of that stamp set. So let's try and not make a mess. I'm going to just push that up. We'll come back to it if we need to look at it. But I have the Intense Black ink, which is the best ink to use when you are using alcohol markers or any type of coloring medium where it might bleed with a dye-based ink. So this is the Intense Black ink. I absolutely love it. It is just such a great black for coloring. And let's just try and line that up so that I don't get ink everywhere, which I have already done. It's always a trick to go on camera and try and stamp when you're trying to look through your camera and your stand. So thanks for bearing with me on that one. And then I just like to hold that ink down and then kind of rub my finger around the images just to make sure that I got that ink evenly distributed and that it absorbed right into the ink. And there you go. And I'm going to set him right there. And then I've got my chamois here. It's really a good idea to wipe off your stamps right after using, especially like the Archival Black or the Intense Black. So I'm just using that chamois. And then I'm going to just gently take him off of the block so that I can use that block again. Put him back onto the carrier sheet. And then let's do these other ones. And again, I'm just carefully pulling it. I've got another block, not quite so cumbersome. And let's get this little guy. And again, I'm just going to, and then sometimes you can tap and twist and get more ink distributed. Let's see if this one comes out a little bit darker. Whoops, wrong image, Holly. That's the great thing about being able to see through these is you can see that was not going to match up, was it? Okay, I think that is good. And then let's just hold that there. And again, just kind of press. Sorry that I'm rocking the camera. And let's see how he looks. Oh yeah, he's a lot darker. So cute. And then I like to set them off to dry before I start coloring them in, because you do and can still get a little bit of bleed if you start coloring them too soon. You do need to let that ink dry. Okay, we're going to move this one off. Let's grab this little guy. And we can stick him on just like that. And then again, I'm just going to tap and twist. And then line him up. Let's see. Just like that. And I do tend to cut my thin cuts out first and then I stamp. I know some of you like to stamp first and then thin cut. No wrong or right way to do it. It's whatever you prefer. And yeah, sometimes I don't get it lined up very well, but most of the time it's pretty good. There we go. Okay, now let's do this flower and then these leaves. And there's two different leaf images. One goes in the right direction and one goes in the left direction. And again, let's just get that ink off of there so I can use him again. And I'm just setting it over here on my chamois carrier. I love this thing. So the bottom acts as a tray, and actually you can actually use it this way. Flip it around and set this down inside the tray, just like that. And then when you're done, you'll just put the lid on it, and because of those holes in it, it dries out the chamois so it doesn't get your projects all wet and destroyed like I have done in the past. And then this acts as a stand, right? You can just set it right here when you're using it. And I love that. I'm so glad we finally came out with a chamois carrier. Okay, now I'm going to take that really delicate, sweet little flower. And I believe, there we go, that is the right direction. There we go. Oh, he is crisp and perfect. Look at that. Okay. Just cleaning him off over here on my chamois. And then here are those leaves. I'm going to put one on one side of the block and one on the other side of the block. And I think that is, yep, that's correct. Set that off to the side. And that one goes like that. And then one more. And actually that goes up like that. And there we go. Okay, let me clean these off, and then we will get to coloring. now that I've got all of my inking done, I'm going to just go ahead and put my carrier, my foam pad back onto the carrier sheet. Looks like I've got a little sparkle that decided to come off, probably from this layout, because I've been playing with it a lot. And then I just put everything back together inside the envelopes so that it is ready to go again. And whenever I need it, I can find it and it's ready to go. So I'm going to set that off to the side. Let's get this ink put away. And then I really kept it simple for coloring. I only used these 3 colors for the scrapbook layout. I used dull green, the lavender blend, and the muted brown. I'm pretty sure because, and actually, you know what? I take that back. Yes, because hydrangea I used on this card right here. Hydrangea's a lot softer, so that's why I brought out this scratch piece of paper, because I wanted to show you what the lavenders look like. A lot more intense versus the hydrangea. A little bit more of a pinky purple, but it's a lot softer. And I really liked the depth of the lavender blend with Royal. I just thought that it was just a much better match. So that's why I went with the lavender blend. And you know what? I should do this. I'm going to mark it. And then this is hydrangea. I am not a good speller, so I need to have this in front of me. There we go. That's a little cheat sheet for us, okay? Okay, I'm gonna just get a little bit closer here, so I apologize if you see my head at all during this, but it just is a lot easier for me to be closer to my projects and not bending over. So hopefully the volume is good. And you know what I'm also gonna do? Just bear with me, you guys, I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna bring this a lot closer so you guys can see what I'm doing. And I pretty much colored everything the same, so this is gonna be a great visual for us. And I will just move these a little bit closer. And then the camera's a lot closer to me as well. And then my Stickles is right here. I've got it upside down and ready to go. I'm gonna just set that off to the side. And let's start coloring this little guy right here. So I always start with the lighter color first. And I decided to make my daisies purple because I just thought that they would look so pretty on this page. And you know, you can color your flowers any color you want. You can leave them white and color the centers yellow like a true daisy, or you can go rogue like I just did, and you can color them any color you want. There's no right or wrong way. And I like to just do circular motions when I'm coloring. They do bleed, so you always want to stay in the center and just lightly go to the edges. And like I said, they are gonna bleed, and they do soften quite a bit too. And I always start with light just because you can always go darker, but you can't always go lighter. And if you ever do a mistake and you need to erase something, that's True Black, sorry. The blender, which I thought I had right here on my table. Let me just see. Ah, here it is. Behind me on my other table. The blender, the colorless blender, is awesome for mistakes. So chances are I'm gonna need it. And that's why I always have it handy. And again, like I said, I'm just doing those little feathery strokes. And then I wanted my center to be pretty dark because we're gonna do Stickles. So I did that in the dark color. Isn't that just stunning? And then I went back over the outline of the image with the medium just to add some depth. And I'm just going around those petals ever so carefully. And you can stagger, you can alternate. You don't have to go over every single one of them. It's just, how do you want your flower to pop? What do you want to stand out? And that's what adding those depths of color will do. They will just create more layers, which is just so beautiful, and it truly makes the flower come to life. And then you can go back over it with the deep and just accent again these little hash marks to create more depth. Oh, that is just going to be so beautiful. Okay, now it's time to do the stem, and then we're going to do our little hedgehogs. And I wanted my hedgehogs to be lighter. You can make them any color you want, but I liked a lighter version of them. And I'm going to just take, this is the dull green in the light, and I'm just using the light shade of that. And then I used the muted brown for my hedgehogs, and I used the light for the ears and the main part of his little face and body and his hands and his feet. Again, I'm trying not to go over the black line. I'm just trying to stay within the lines and just kind of touch where the black might meet, just so that it's not too noticeable. Just want to blend that, just like that. And then I took the medium shade, and that's what I colored his little hair with. And as you can see, I'm just kind of going back and forth. And then I got real close to where that hairline was, and I used the medium to kind of just go along those lines, create that depth. And it just really makes him kind of pop out. And you can go back over with the deep one as well if you want, just to create, again, some more depth, but I chose to just stick with the light and the medium on these little guys. Play around. That's my best advice when you're coloring, is just truly play around and find what works for you and what combination you like. And then I always create a little color chart so that I can remember the colors that I used, and that's why I created this one over here. And you can do the same thing over here. You can do a hash of each color, and then you can just create yourself a little cheat sheet. And this is muted, right? Muted brown. And then I always go over here and I do a light, a medium, and a dark. Just, again, for reference. And then the last one we can do is the dull green. Whoops. There we go. Okay, so my cheat sheet is done, and we need to get back to some coloring. Sometimes I like learning people's processes and how they go about doing things, especially those kind of behind the scenes, so to speak. So I hope that was helpful. And certainly if you have other tips or tricks that you use when you're coloring, oh my goodness, I would love to know. And I know that other people that follow my channel and look at the comments, I know that they would appreciate any other tips or tricks that you would like to share. So please, I encourage you to leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts, and I would love to know if you have any other tips or tricks that you personally use when you are coloring. I am by no means an artist, but I feel like I have learned so much from watching other makers and other artists, and I'm constantly evolving my skills and fine-tuning them, and I practice a lot, as you can see. I practice. I make a ton of mistakes, but you know, I think the mistakes are how you learn. And I certainly have made a ton of them. And again, like I said, I think it's just really gotten my skills a lot better the more I practice and the more I kind of feel forward, right? Oh my goodness, he's so cute. So cute. So that's what he looks like done. And then what I did with the Stickles is I just kind of painted. I came in here and I painted the inside, and I just kind of dotted it like this. And then I went up here by these, and I got a little too much on my tip, but I just came in here and I just kind of stroked out with a little bit of the glitter, and I just accented where those lines are. And I'm telling you, it just picks up that little bit of sparkle and color, and it really makes this flower come to life. And it's gonna dry flat, so that's gonna settle down as it's drying, but oh my goodness, look at how amazing that looks already. So we're gonna set that off to the side so it can dry. And we're gonna bring in some of these other little guys and finish coloring them. And then you will have a great reference for when you get ready to color. Now for this one, you can do one of two things. On here, I did light and then dark again, or you could do the opposite. You could do light. So let's just do the opposite this time. So we're gonna go light for the inside, and then we're gonna go medium, and then some dark. And again, when it dries down, it's so soft, but it really does help to create some different continuity and depth with each of these flowers. So this one will be lighter, and then this one will be darker, and I think it'll be a nice combination of the two. And then adding that Stickles in the middle is really gonna make this pop. And then I'm gonna just take the dark and just kind of accent those petals. Oh my goodness, isn't that stunning? That is gonna look so beautiful over here. And then again, we're gonna add some Stickles. I got a little too heavy-handed on my example, so this one I'm gonna just be really not heavy-handed, and I'm just gonna put that just like that. And again, like I said, it is going to dry flat, and I'm gonna just move that over out of the way. And then for the leaves, I did light first in the dull green, and then I went over it with the medium, and then a little bit of the dark where needed. This is probably one of my favorite greens. I use it a lot, and I go through them a lot because I think this is just such a beautiful green. So I'm just trying to go around the edges ever so carefully, not get too outside of the line. they're going to get tucked in anyway, so you're not going to really see it. And then you can just go back over this one with the deep, that center vein. And if you want, you can even go back over the actual leaf again and just create a little bit more depth. It just really makes it pop. And then that way, if you've gone outside of the lines a little too much like I did on this one, it kind of brings everything back in. Okay, we're gonna let those sit there, and we are down to our last little guys. So again, let's just get, of course, I would grab the wrong color. Okay, it's all right. No one's ever gonna know. These hedgehogs are so precious. We had another set a few years ago, and I absolutely loved them. I actually made thank you cards for my sister for her marriage a year ago. So that's how I remembered them, because she loved them so much. She loves hedgehogs. And so I made some really cute thank you cards for her. And again, we gravitate towards those purples because my sisters and I both love, all three of us love purple. It's one of our favorite colors. And you know what? I think I'm going to make this one light too. And then I'm just going to go around again and just accent. So when we had Cardstock Carnival, I knew that I was going to use cardstock to create these projects with, because so many of you took advantage of that cardstock sale, and I really wanted to show you how to just keep things simple and use cardstock as your main papers. You don't have to have a pattern paper, right? And I just thought this combination of colors was just stunning. I used a color wheel that I pulled off of the internet. It's right here. And it's a color theory, and it just talks about color. And I loved this because I'm not good at picking out color. I hope you can see that. I'm not good at picking out color, but when I saw those blues and blue violets and violets right next to each other with a little splash of the green, I was like, oh my goodness, this is exactly what I want to do. And when you look at the color wheel, it is like right in here, right? And I think it's pronounced analogous, which are the colors that are neighbors to each other on the color wheel. So that was really fun to take this and experiment with it. Because like I said, I really have no artistic background. I took some art classes in high school, but not anything, not drawing or anything like that. It was more photography. That was really what I was drawn to. But I learned so much. And like I said, I learned from everybody. I am constantly just trying to get better, right? And I really feel like being with Close to My Heart all these years has really helped me become a much better artist and more confident. And so I hope these videos that you watch from me really help you build your confidence, because practice is truly the way you get better at anything. And I feel like that's how I've gotten better over the years, is just keep practicing, right? I'm just making these a little bit darker. Whoops. And so here's that blender. And you'll just see what you do is you just pull towards yourself, and it starts to kind of erase that color. And I mean, it doesn't remove it 100%, but especially these darker colors. And you can come back over here to your scratch paper and just kind of clean that off so that you can go back. And I just keep pulling it towards myself, and it does soften it. Okay, let's go back to our muted brown. And you can see my muted brown is starting to get down to the end. It starts to squeak more when it's running out. And I have a backup just in case I need it. But I'm gonna try and get through this entire project first before I break out the new one. And of course, I always end up with more of the medium and dark because those are the colors that I don't use as often. But you can even hear that one. He's kind of squeaking a little bit too. That's all right. Just coming in here and creating that little bit of depth, getting that ear. Oh, he's so cute. Perfect set for spring, as so many of our little woodland creatures are starting to have their babies. And one of my customers, Sarah, just showed me a mom and her baby foxes, which I think are they called kittens? Anyway, oh my goodness, I couldn't believe it. I was like, we have 2 red-tailed foxes here in our woodlands, but I haven't seen a baby at all. And she showed me this picture the other day of 8 of these babies walking around the mom. It was so precious. And I'm like, spring has sprung. Like, if that isn't an indication, right? New life. So fun. Anyway, I like to ramble when I'm coloring, just to fill in some of the quiet space. I did that one a little bit backwards, so I started coloring with the medium first. So like I said, there are just no wrong or right ways when you're coloring. It's whatever you prefer. Oh my goodness, he's so cute. Okay, and now let's get our dull green in here. Let's see if I can not be so heavy-handed. That's a lot better. And then time to do this little guy. And then I will be ready to start the assembly of this beautiful 2-page layout. And I can't wait to show you some of the tips and tricks that I learned from my dear friend Michael, who actually taught us a completely different project. And I loved it so much, and I loved being able to make these stripes without having to use a Cricut machine. And I was like, oh my goodness, I can do this for everything. This is just, it looks so much harder than it truly is. Okay, we're gonna make that one dark and then just come in here. We're not gonna go around the entire flower. I'm just gonna accent like that. And then let's grab our Stickles. I like to tap it down. And then we're just going to come in here, do that center, and then streak. Just to almost make it look like dewdrops. And then we're gonna come in here, color this one, and then again, just do some streaking. And we are going to let those dry. And let me just bring these all down now so that you can see them. You can see my little color chart. And let's get that. He's already starting to dry nicely. And I will be, whoops, let's get this in view. I hope you guys saw that. I'm so sorry if none of these were in view. I'm just noticing that as I'm standing up here. But anyway, I will be right back. I will link this actually in all of the videos for this month so that you can see the coloring and pause it, rewind it, get closer to it. But I hope that it really helped you see just how fun coloring is. And I love these TriBlend markers. They are a game changer for me. So I will catch you on the next video when I walk you through how to make this video or this 2-page layout. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And again, I so appreciate you liking, subscribing to this channel, and leave a comment down below for me, okay? Have a great day.